How you doing today, Dr. Floyd? My name is Patrick Davis. This is my landing guide for the um, the assignment number 3. So I guess the second half. I wrote some notes down. I'm gonna read from my notes to kind of double check as I go along with the demonstration. So there are 3 things that you want to be mindful of when it comes to landing: form, active absorption, active shock absorption, and weight distribution. Those 3 things play a critical role. We'll start with form first. So the first thing is 3 or 4 different things. 3 things: your shoulders, your knees, and your hips. You want to try to line them up and make them kind of line up. So your shoulders should line up with your hips. Your hips should line up with your knees, and then your toes. Your knees should line up with your toes. Your toes shouldn't go past your knees. Your shoulders should be stacked over your knees, and your hips should be in line with your knees. That's more or less the motion. With that being said, there's a way to check. The way to check is to look at someone from head to toe at the end of their landing, and you can see from that angle, them turn to the side, where everything lines up and where everything falls. The second thing, active absorption. Some people call it a quiet landing, soft landing, using your muscles to make sure when you make contact with the ground, you don't just hit it like a rock, a thud. You want to use your body to absorb. That way, it doesn't, you won't hit a loud thud. One way to check that is when you come down, you don't just drop straight to the ground like a weight. You don't just hit the ground kind of just very stiff. Instead, your body, it gives a little bit. And that's the whole point of bending your knees in your squat. The last thing is going to be weight distribution. This is making sure that you don't put too much weight on the right side, too much weight on the left side, too much weight on your heels, too much weight in the front of you. You'll see a lot of times people, they're falling and their placement is just all off. That's weight distribution. It's finding the right balance. The best way to check that, again, is at the end of the landing. If they're moving, if they're stepping and stuttering, things of that nature, that usually means, let me move the camera a little, I keep moving to the left. That usually means that it's some type of distribution off. So I'm gonna do a couple of landings. I'm not a big jumper. I'm not a big person that likes to even jump in the first place. I'm a heavier guy, so jumping is not one of my best things, but learning about them is good to know. So I'm gonna do a couple of jumps, a couple of, I guess you could say, active falls and things of that nature. And I'll start from up here and I'll fall down. The biggest thing I remember when reading and looking at different things is how you land. So you fall and you want to just make sure everything's kind of lined up. So, and from this right here is the moment of contact. So if I'm looking, my hips aren't allowing my knees, from just glancing down, my knees aren't over my toes. And my shoulders, from what I can see, are stacked over my knees. That was a pretty good one. I'm gonna turn the bench and do it from the side. This will be the real telltale right here. So when I fall off of it, you can get a visual demonstration from the side. Whew. And yeah, from here, I think it's about the same thing. I think after a while, you naturally do certain things. You don't just let your body hit the ground. And again, me doing little various sports throughout the years and being heavier, I've learned how to kind of actively absorb. That's one of the biggest things. So I have 3 more things I want to talk about. They're pretty much like checks, cues, and ways to fix errors. One of them is finding the right balance between the knee to hip. And that's where it's pretty much not going too low and not just pretty much standing straight up. The second thing, making sure that your eyes, as I had to do, making sure that your eyes are up, paying attention to the surroundings. And any athlete, any sport, no athlete runs around looking at their feet. That's the biggest thing. So making sure that they're looking around, seeing what's going on around them, watching the ball, other players, whatever the sport is. Not staring at your feet is going to be a very important cue, and that's one of the reasons you practice. It becomes second nature. The last thing I want to talk about is, it's the same thing. I'm sorry. Visually dependent upon your movement. So if you have to jump or fall, you don't want to have to always look down for that purpose. The first thing that comes in mind is when they have those courses and things of that nature, when they go like meters and meters, and they have the obstacle courses. when they land, they don't always have to look. They don't always look down. They want to see everything that's going on. Look at the next task ahead and things of that nature. In short, that's the landing guide for this assignment 3 part 2. I've covered pretty much errors, common errors, things to fix them, and the 3 major things: form, active absorption, and weight distribution. Thank you so much, Doctor.